Yao Anochi Frimpong. Chief Yao. If you can hear me, Lawyer Anochi Frimpong, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon at the table while we look at the transitional team. Good afternoon once again for joining us. Right, okay, let's keep working the lines until we're able to reach Lawyer Anochi Frimpong. Some would wonder, or some will ask, what's the need or the point of a transitional team? Why do we need a transitional team? What's the benefit of a transitional team? What role will they play even in governance going forward? And who qualifies to be nominated or to be appointed as a member? What qualifying criteria is there for one to be called upon to be a part of the transitional team, either whether on the sitting government side or the incoming government side? There is also, interestingly, on the front page of the Ghanaian Times on Monday, November 25, a statement, banner headline by the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, which reads, quote, "I'll ensure smooth transition of power." And this statement is currently what the President is standing by. This were his words, and he's standing by those words and delivering on them. He has assured the people of Ghana, and he's standing by that in his words, says, I'm going to ensure that the will of the people prevails, and that's exactly what he's just delivering on. And so the moment we get hold of Lawyer Anochi Frimpong, we'll go on the line and pick his thoughts. Thank you very much for joining us, Lawyer Anochi Frimpong.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Good afternoon once again.
Too much noise at your end. Too much noise at your end.
Wow, I guess my production team will work on that for us. We really apologize for that. And going forward, we're looking at the role of the transition or transitional team, and on the both sides we have at least 10 nominated persons who are dealing with this transition matters. First of all, one ask, what's the role and purpose of a transitional team?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me, Lawyer Frimpong?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, and so my question earlier was, what will be the role and the purpose of a transitional team?
I'm not catching you well, but I heard the word transition. If that is the case, I believe I can comment on the meaning of transition in the procedure that is taking place now.
Please do
so. It only refers to a smooth transfer of power from one government to the other after an election.
Right.
In the case of Ghana, as we all know, there is always a 1 month mandatory transitional period for the government that is exiting, the government that is entering power. Whether that they can or they can iron out things so that the Ghanaians, and for that matter, the people, citizens, will only accept what we refer to as a change in continuity. There is always continuity when it comes to constitutional rule. Now, when there is a change, we manage the change.
Right.
That is as opposed to a complete breakdown of the constitution. In that case, we refer to a coup d'etat. When there is a coup d'etat, we cannot talk about a transition because there is a revolution. The revolution is anything that occurs that is not predicted by the constitution. Now, in this scenario, the incoming administration and the outgoing administration have 1 month to meet. Right. And then exchange all necessary documents that need to be exchanged. And then when it comes, for example, if the Minister of Defense under the old government has entered into an agreement with a foreign company or another country for the supply of, let's say, military accoutrements or something to the country. This is not a thing to be discussed in public.
Yeah.
It refers to state defense or security. So that one have to be discussed in terms between the two parties, I mean the two governments, one incoming and one outgoing.
Right. So,
also,
Lawyer Frimpong, having mentioned that arrangement where there is one incoming, one outgoing, coming together to discuss matters bordering not only on national security but also perhaps national finance, as among other things. What do you?
all things.
Well, all things. What will be some of the challenges these men and women put together may face or are likely to face?
Some of the challenges.
Yes, associated with the transition.
Some of the challenges will be that because we live in a human society, the outgoing government will be faced with the situation whereby they would wish to have their taste and their trespasses forgiven them by the incoming government.
I see.
That is done almost everywhere.
Okay.
That means when you come to power, I know you will be under pressure to do A, B, C, D to us. This is the opportunity for me to say sorry to you and also to wish that you will not disturb me, because maybe after 4 years or 8 years, you also become old like me or engineer like me. These are some of the human things they will discuss between the two of them. But above all else, the most important thing they will discuss will be the ceremonial occasion. Who are you going to invite? Which president or head of government in this world are you inviting? The two of them will have to agree upon. Which pastor or imam is going to speak that day. All those things that will take place that day will be discussed between the two of them, even the venue, because the law does not strictly say that it should take place at Independence Square as we all know. It cannot take place anywhere. So if there are security concerns why it should not take place at the usual venue that we know, the two leaders will discuss between them. That's it.
Now, let's look at the legal framework within which this team will operate. Will they have, perhaps some would want to know, prosecutorial powers so that if they find anything untoward in that dealing, they will recommend a certain prosecution? Is that something available to them?
Yes, that one is outside the job of the transitional team. Because that one borders on the economy of the country, the affairs of the state. So that can nothing, that will be nothing among what will be discussed between them. Because don't forget that the people of Ghana voted against a certain government and they have voted for you. So this is not the time for you to go and sit down to become subservient to the other. So I know that when, for example, you bring the issue of the Kwalugu Dam, that Nana President Mahama says he does not understand why $8 million was spent on the dam and there is no dam. That is not the place to discuss that thing. When it comes to a very important issue such as the national cathedral that many Ghanaians speak against, the incoming president is not going to discuss this. That will be a problem for his attorney general to handle after the handing over.
Okay.
Yes, it's as simple as that. We are not going to sit down with them in order that they will be correct or they will become late, so that in the next 4 years, Ghanaians will still against them. That is never so. They are going to discuss just handing over notes. And then the day of handing over, what exactly are the two men going to look at?
Right.
Maybe one will say, my friend, everybody knows Nana Father's friend is the Ivorian president, the Nigerian president. And everyone knows that Mahama may like the Burkina Faso president and the Malian president more. And it's a fact. So the two of them will have to discuss. I have wished that the Ivorian president will be president. But maybe Mahama hasn't got that idea. the two of them will have to discuss who are going to invite to the occasion. So what I mean is that between the two of them, whatever that will happen will be just ceremonial.
Okay.
And it includes even the seat of government. If the outgoing president has erected a bunker over there for the security of English, this is something the incoming administration does not know. So you need to educate the incoming president and those who will be the English that we have elected this year, we have elected that day. And then all the renovation that are taking place over the new teach them and the team handing over of everything.
Right.
That is what is going to be discussed. So it is not a one-day affair, as we saw yesterday on Kelly. After what we saw yesterday on Kelly, it is only the beginning. In reality, there will be inside talk, a tete-a-tete work between the two of them where nobody will be present. If, for example, the previous government engaged China, Russia, or America to put in place a security base in the country, this is something that will not have to be discussed in public. It will be between the two of them.
Right. Given that you mentioned it will be a moment or a period where there'll be transferring or a handing over of whatever note or activities are taking place before the election or electing of a new president, what will be some of the modalities these things would have to put in place to ensure transparency, especially in disclosing what there is or what there isn't, also ensuring a proper accountability?
First and foremost, there will be the need for those going out to make disclosures to those coming in. That will be the most important thing, to make disclosures. And then, correspondingly, those coming in will have to ask the relevant and the very material questions. They have to ask questions. And then there will be the need again for those going out to explain or to give relevant answers to those who are coming in. So these are the most important things that will be discussed over there. And then if you fail to make the necessary disclosures, don't forget that after the government has taken over the administration, it will be something against you to come and answer. And maybe at that time you are enjoying your pension somewhere, and then you'll be running errands. So 1 month is big enough for you to make every necessary disclosure and everything that affects in the smooth, and I say smooth, transfer of power. Above all else, it is the interest of the incoming president that will be at stake far more than the interest of the outgoing one. And I will give you an example.
Okay.
You see, after Mahama had been declared the winner, you realize that most people, the outgoing president, wrote a letter to congratulate Mahama, in which he stated that he was ready to meet the incoming president on 25th December at the seat of government. In this response, the incoming government, refused that long period because the outgoing president said that he needed a little period of rest or honeymoon. That was why he extended the date to 21st. But Mahama said no. He needed it as early as possible. That was why he scaled down the date to yesterday, the 11th. So that should tell you that it is the one who is coming to power that wage everything surrounding power more than the one who is going away.
There are those who are of the view that every key stakeholder, be they ministers or deputy ministers who were once in charge of state affairs, will be called upon to appear before this committee in order to render an account. Is that the case?
It can be within that period of 1 month, because you shouldn't forget that during the 4 years or 8 years administration, they did not rule in vacuum. Whatever they did, we saw, and we have certain questions for them to answer. In certain situations, to certain commendations, make this for them. And this is the opportunity for the two of them to exchange those ideas. queries here and there, things that need to be queried upon, they will do. And then if it is to be commented for, they will do. If you want any minister privately to come and explain things, they will do. Okay, a very topical issue in Ghana at the moment is whether Coach Otto Addo should stay as Black Stars coach or not. Look, between the two of them, Black Stars, the national team, it's a national team. It is not protocol or has a vote. So between the two of them, as casual as it might be, it's very important. The outgoing president, they want to express to the incoming president why he feels the coach must stay or must go away. And then the incoming government would also listen attentively.
Right.
As for whether he will implement it or not, I told you earlier on that he has the power. He will only listen to the opinion of the outgoing president. Then he will decide whether or not to take the advice of his senior. The senior is the one who was in charge before you coming in.
At what point will it be necessary to call upon past presidents, if they are alive, to join this transition? And will their presence be necessary at any point?
Please, there is no way the outgoing president can be out of the transition. In fact, if there is even an impasse, if there is an impasse between the two of them, you know, we have certain personalities in the country, like the national chief man, like the Asantini, them, Bishop Ramabato, all of them, and everybody, we have certain distinguished people in the country, in Chamba. You know, these are very distinguished people in the country, where there appears to be some differences between the two of them, because don't forget that each one is coming from a different ideological background.
Yeah.
So sometimes when they sit, it may take a third party to broker a peace deal between them. The public might not know this, but big people outside, as I mentioned, would be invited to ensure that these two people, this short period of time, will do what is in the interest of the people of Ghana before they part ways. And it can even include a former president like Kofoa to come in, a former vice president. Everybody could be invited to ensure that there is everything is well between the two of them.
So let's look at the benefit of a transitional team and whether or not they will bring anything on board. How beneficial will they be to going forward, especially ensuring a certain functional governance beyond the transitioning?
More or less, you have already answered the question. You see, government keeps changing, but the state exists forever. So the government, that is an entity of the state, must ensure that there is always peace and security and tranquility of the state. And what is the government? It's not made up of inanimate objects, made up of human beings. So the first advantage we get is that it was only a contest, a competition between the two of us. It wasn't like war between Russia and Ukraine. So in reality, there is nothing like a winner.
Yeah.
It is a state that has won.
Right.
That is the first benefit of transition.
Right.
And that is what would remind Ghanaians of dates like June 4, 1979, 24 February 1952, where the outgoing government never had the opportunity of speaking to those who took power. No, that one was bloody. That's what we are talking about. Right. This one, there is room for Jojo, because everybody operates under the constitution of the republic. But these are the benefits.
Right.
And it also means that if there is anything that was outstanding, it could even be scheduled, rescheduled, so that after 7 December, between the two of them, and then between two ministers, a new minister, and then an outgoing minister to meet and then discuss issues. Because as we talk, we have a minister for, let's say, the food now. But the incoming government hasn't got any minister for defense. So certain things can be rescheduled, you know, and then when the government has really taken its place in power, and then appointed all the ministers. Behind the scenes, they will continue to talk to each other. And I mean the subject of the government,
right.
the various ministers, DCEs, MCEs, they can continue to work smoothly until such time that the government discovers there are certain issues that have to go to court or to appear before committees of inquiry. Without this stage, you cannot just surprise anybody. Otherwise, people will think that you only come to power to do good country.
Yeah, yeah. Can an outgoing government decide to withhold information, and in what circumstance can they withhold such information? If they do, what could possibly be some of the repercussions or ramifications for that behavior?
You know that there is an act that compels everybody to use information.
Yes.
So if you decide to withhold information, where it becomes necessary to disclose that information, even in court, when you have been asked a question, instead of answering it and you decide not to answer, you know that it goes against you. On 27 June 2022, you stole this item and you decide to remain silent in the court today. It means you are accepting that you stole it. So it will not be in the interest of the outgoing government to withhold any information. It is only not proper for it to be disclosed in public, because you know that whenever somebody is going to elect a minister or even the members of parliament, they will be led to swear the oath of secrecy. Secrecy means you are keeping it from the public. It doesn't mean you are keeping it from an appropriate committee or before a new government. You can withhold it from it. No, not to disclose it, because it is not going to be made to the public. No.
And then what will be the public's interest in knowing every detail that transpired as far as those two teams are concerned?
The public interest, number one, is the public purse. The public purse, the public money. So when you disclose information and you are not able to answer problems, that is to say, to account for your stewardship, then it will become a subject for prosecution subsequently. And the public interest is that the new government must not do anything to protect the old government.
Right.
In that case, you become like the old government. You don't do anything to protect their interests. Look, it is at this stage that in many African countries, and I don't want to say Ghana is one of them, whereby the outgoing president and his people chronically will tell the incoming man that, take for example, 10 people will take this man, and I've used 1 or 2 people's names. Please, when you come, make sure you go and stay and take investigation to that place. The National Tax Grant to prevent complete failure. I will wish that you continue so that nobody will know the harm I've caused to the country. These are dirty things that in many African countries, the two will begin to share as a way of saying that scratch my back, and in future I also scratch your back. Especially in a situation like Ghana where we have a duopoly, only 2 parties. So please, let's play it strictly in order to protect each other. I pray God that this will not happen now. NPC will operate in the interest of the people of Ghana and never in the interest of those they are snatching power from. Because I believe that Ghanaians voted utterly, comprehensively against the system that is going away because of certain bitterness in their heart and not a matter of a mistake. And that is what should be the watchword of President Mahama and those who are going to work with him. Never to impress those going out in any money. Never. And the word is never.
Never. Now, it's interesting you mentioned how the likelihood of a scratch my back, I scratch your back will be one that all parties would do well to avoid. Even before the transition team gets to work, we have heard commentaries from other places relative to recruitment and payments. What will be, again, best examples or best practices to follow so that we can avoid such things in the future?
Okay, I believe that the new government will have to go all out to act in a manner that would impress the people of this country. As you rightly pointed out, during this period that the government has lost power, I can assure you that several of the state entities are now replete with so many employees from the former, what do you call it, Jubilee House, now Plaster House. So many. I don't want to mention it in public, but when they call me anywhere, I can mention that at the time that they realize they're going to lose, go to the state entities, state services and authorities and corporations. You will say that the director or the chief executive will bring, then they will bring 10, 20 names from Jubilee House that these people should be employed. You sign, you employ them so that you keep them safe, keep them in employment. I believe that the new president should set up a committee to go into all this. Yes, because the Bible even says that your father cannot eat sour grapes for the children to set on earth. Everybody should be accountable for their deeds. You don't try anything on anyone. No, you are using power. And then I should ask the other side of the coin is that even before Muhammad takes control of power, many of the NDC supporters, their fans, they go about vandalizing officers and then attempting to take over certain positions. Please, these things are not political. They are criminal.
Okay.
So the Ghana Police Service must be up and doing that. You do not say you are wearing NDC t-shirt and NDC has one power, so you keep quiet. I don't think it is part of NDC manifesto or their constitution that when they win power, their supporters should go about beating people or taking over power. Those things that will not qualify for this new appointment. So why do you start doing it in the first place? All these things should be accounted for in the right way.
Given what you just said, that the president or the incoming administration will have to set up committees to investigate last minute or even out of date contracts, projects, employment, and so forth. Won't that be interpreted, around some quarters as part of the witch hunt mantra?
No. Because they came to serve the people of Ghana. You remember when there was this concession that was given to Muhammad's brother. It should be a bauxite concession somewhere in the area. After the transfer of power, the NDP government came and then stopped the whole thing. And they did it in the interest of the country. It wasn't a witch hunt. So I believe everything that has been done, not only during this last minute day, but even 8 years ago. And the reason is that at that time, nobody would have had the power to question them. Now that they have left, it is an opportunity for us to go into all those things. And those who need to be assaulted, not to be assaulted, and those who need to be punished or prosecuted in any form or manner or shape. Yes, not to put them through that.
Now, on one of the headlines on the front pages of today's newspapers, President Akufo-Addo reiterates ban on vehicle acquisition by outgoing appointees. this practice isn't one that has just happened, an overnight thing. It's been there. We've known about last minute purchases of state assets and vehicles and every other. Is it the case, or could it be the case that even when it's been agreed and has been sold off, the new administration can recall that and ask that it be sold at full price or confiscated?
Please, the state has more power than any entity in the state. If there is any wrongful acquisition, the judiciary is there. That is why we refer to the two arms of government, being the legislature and the executive, as political. They are the politicians. If you belong to the executive, you are the politician because you are a politician because your head, the president, was elected. If you belong to the legislature, you are a politician because you were elected. The judiciary, no member of the judiciary is elected by anyone. So they are there. Whatever you believe, smells fish and or rat, and you don't understand. The judiciary is there. And it's not only to be embarked upon by the new government and its agencies or members, but every citizen of Ghana, including even workers at Lands Commission, because that is where the registration takes place. So if you are an employee at Lands Commission and you know that somebody was attempting or had attempted to register a state property at Osu or cantonment or wherever, if you are a citizen of Ghana, you have every right to divulge the information to the appropriate entity. So it is like everybody's business, because they say the right of freedom is perpetual vigilance. Every Ghanaian is supposed to be vigilant. Stand up and do it. Don't keep quiet.
Right. One of the thoughts many have expressed as far as the role of the transitional team is concerned is whether or not it will be or it would lie in their mouths to recommend a renegotiation of agreements or deals such as that of the IMF and the World Bank. Will that be available to them to recommend a renegotiation?
During the transitional period, any subject worthy of discussion will have to be discussed over there, so that it will extend into the period beyond the transition.
Right.
For example, if the previous administration made a deal with the IMF, the time to disclose why you decided to go there, and if there is any unfinished business, the need for you to continue in order not to jeopardize the position of Ghana at the international level. So whichever agreement in the interest of the country, it has to be disclosed. And if 1 month is so short for you to do that, beyond the 1 month, there is nothing that stops the two of them from continuing to discuss it. Because you and I know that at a certain point, the World Bank brought some of its staff to the Bank of Ghana to advise the Minister for Finance and then the Governor of the Bank of Ghana as to how to administer the financial affairs of the state. Are these people to continue or they are to leave? Have these people already left? Why did they leave? Please, these are issues that will have to come up during the transitional period.
Right. Now, given that these would have to be the case, how can the transitional team balance competing priorities and in the interest of Ghana during this period? How will they balance competing priorities? And an example is of what you just mentioned. How will they do this?
Being it is very easy. I'm saying that when they reach over there, everything is the interest of the champion. It is winner's justice. That is the victor's justice. And that is the government coming to power. That is all. It is always the one that is coming to power. It is what they like that will prevail. As I mentioned, if, for example, they want the one coming to power wants Minister to preach that day, Nana Akufo-Addo cannot say, I want this man, prophet, the part to preach. So whatever that is going to take place within that 1 month will be based on the will and capacity of the government that is coming to power.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned what power the incoming administration will or influence in deciding who gets what or who does what. Now, what are some of the examples we can draw on from past transitions, and what would be some of the key lessons we need to look out for in order to make this particular period one that can be counted as successful among others?
If we can repeat it,
what could be some of the lessons this transitional team could draw from previous transitional teams in order to make?
Yeah, it's very important. The lesson that will be drawn, especially the first transition that took place in the country under the 1992 Constitution, was the one between President Rawlings and Mr. J.A. Ofor. No matter the two of them met, even though one started as a dictator, and you could tell that was the spirit around him, the air around him. He managed to stoop so low as to understand that your power is just fading away, and somebody is coming to take our power. That person, within a period of 1 month, in fact, less than 1 month, is going to become the supreme commander of Ghana's army, including the police and all forces of coercion in the country. That is the reason why there's always a balance, and that is the reason why there is always, a Frenchman would say, a friendship between the two. Because one submits to the other in all humility. And that is the outgoing one, because he sees power drifting away from him. Rawlings went through that, and in a very beautiful and smooth manner, to the extent that we also, President Kufuor, telling Rawlings how happy he was, and he said he could even feel power moving from Rawlings to himself. It was captured on film. And this is a very classic example for everybody. And then the last one between President Mahama and Kufuor. And it's so historic. Not two people who did it some time ago are doing it today. So because they have ever met, continuing to do that old business will be easier than whereby Mahama has been a different and a new person altogether, entering Flagstaff House for the first time. That's why we have been different. And then I remember the question I just reminded me of when Kwame Nkrumah won the first election in 1961, and such Noble Adintrek invited him to Otu Castle for the first time. Nkrumah was looking everywhere, and he himself said that he was shivering, because he was taken from prison to go and meet the governor at the seat of government. So it means that he moved from the lowest of places to the highest of places. And he said he went through transition himself. He tried to exercise privately how he would dress during that occasion, how he would walk during that occasion, and then what he would say during that occasion. It was because it was the first time a black man was going to take over power from a white man in this country. It was the first time a prisoner such as himself, a veranda boy like himself, sleeping at common ordinary places, now being given new clothes and entering the most prestigious place, in the capital of the country. Definitely, you feel very, very uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
But in the case of Mahama and Kufuor, it's like business as usual. Mahama has never started. Kufuor has always been there. So it is like business as usual. But I believe that is what must not lead Mahama to fall into the temptation of making people there reflect because Ghanaians did not treat them that way. And they are not to be enemies too. Should be based on genuine principles in the interest of the state, so that every time will have to be accounted for.
Sure.
And I mean it.
Sure. Thank you very much. Just before I let you go, what will be your final words to anyone watching us this afternoon or listening to you and wondering what if you're asking for incoming president ensuring every dime is accounted for didn't happen?
Oh, my final word, as you know, is the fact that Kenyans should cherish the beauty of constitutional rule. Because some time ago, people were brutalized in their shops for not having done anything. Certain fathers of certain people, certain husbands of certain people were lined up and shot, and no reason whatsoever was given for that. Now we have an opportunity where, like Jesus Christ and the Son sit together at table as if they are equal. This is the best opportunity for us. We should continue to develop that relationship between us in order to ensure that the country will be at peace forever. At the same time, we must never continue to have governments of impunity, because when we do that, it will make Kenyans regret having a duopoly. You see, it will make Kenyans regret having NPP and NDC, and they will begin to look for a new gospel.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Anochi Frimpong. It's been brilliant speaking with you on the role of the transitional team in governance. Earlier on, I brought you the list of who had made it on the transitional team of the NDC. It's only fair and proper that I brought you that of the NPP too, and so I tried, but because I didn't have the names over the top of my head, I had to just let it go. Let me go back to it. It's not too late to go back to it. On the list of the NPP, on the side of the NPP's transitional team, is the Honorable Akusu Afrima Opari, who is the current Chief of Staff. We also have on there the Honorable Godfred Yebu Adami, the Attorney General. We have also Honorable Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, who is Minister for Presidential Affairs. And then we have the Honorable Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, the current Finance Minister. We have the Honorable Henry Kwote, Minister for the Interior. We also have on there Honorable Albert Kan Dapa, Minister for National Security. Followed thereafter is Honorable Martin Ajay Mensah Kosa, Minister for Local Government. And then we have Honorable Shirley Ayoko Boche, the Minister for Foreign Affairs. And finally, there is Honorable Dominic Nitiwu, Minister for Defense. And these were the men and women who's made it onto the transition team to ensure that there is a smooth transfer of power from a sitting or the sitting government to the newly elected incoming administration led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We saw the beauty of what democracy is yesterday when His Excellency visited the Jubilee House at the invitation of the sitting president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and that hearty exchange of brotherliness and love among the men and women who were around there. Thank you very much for watching GBC News. My name is Darrell Alan Tego. Until I come your way again tomorrow, God willing, keep watching GBC News. Thank you very much.
is time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die. Ecclesiastes 3:1-2. The late Samuel Odro Amofa, popularly called Biggie, was born on 5th March 1990 at the Ridge Hospital in Accra to Mr. Martin Amofa of Asante Bekwai and Madam Asumwa of Obokwe in the Eastern region. Samuel was referred to as Biggie due to his physique. Samuel started his nursery and basic education at Keblebe School at Jolo and Light Academy at Adenta, both in the Greater Accra region.
Odro Amofa omoye minu Jennifer Amofa ena Odro Amofa ntona yeketwa kwadwo ye obi a ope djuma din onjena hune oye djuma din okasa wanye na hune kra ontie oye so hard working person obuadie oye respectful oye jovial yes resem sometimes oka nsembia yetini stressa dako oka bibi ma yesri ya ose se obi kobo busia na ontua odi scan mana odi scan pe onkan na odi se ni botoma ense wu se sa nipa no scan na di obetua but obi kobo obusia na obetua odi scan mana na wakan ahwe se scan na odi mana na aso yesri ya and you say, oh no, in Santa Island, say na, or no, in some night or Kikano, because a young man, and so Utimi can be Bima, what's Rama, Uji, I didn't know for so longer, to me in Tiasi, Kojodi, never kindly, never be free, Enna,